everyone, my name is Prism, and welcome back to another episode of Reviewing the Disney Classics, the series where every single week I attempt to do a review for every single Disney animated feature film. Now, the reason I say attempt is because with school starting, my uploading schedule for these is going to get a little bit more wonky, but hopefully I can still keep you guys posted. Today we're going to be reviewing the second feature of the Disney Bronze Age. This is the second film also released in the 1970s. It is another animal-focused animated feature following the Aristocats and the Jungle Book. Today we're going to be taking a look at Disney's Robin Hood. This is the first animated feature without Walt Disney's own approval, and so we're going to be taking a look and seeing how the Disney animators did without their creator-in-chief. So let's get into Disney's Robin Hood.
Loved legend achieves its brightest, most colorful dimension when it comes to the screen in total animation from Walt Disney Productions.
Yay, Dad! Help! Robin, help! Oh.
Robin Hood.
Now, I think it's a little bit more fun when I can actually talk about my personal experience with a Disney film. And for a lot of these, I'm not going to bother because, sure, I've watched all of them in my childhood. I've watched a lot of Disney films when I was younger. But Robin Hood was one that I really liked as a kid. I remember when I was younger, I even had a Robin Hood party with this film playing in the background. And Disney's Robin Hood, you know, it's kind of the version of Robin Hood that I grew up with. It's not as dark and gritty as some of the later films. It's just a nice, sweet, squeaky clean Disney animated cartoon with Robin Hood perfectly played by a fox, and all the other animal characters perfectly portraying their roles. Though, you could argue that this film does get a little bit dark, and we will talk about that. That is definitely going to be a factor of the 1970s, but I really like Robin Hood, and I really like this copy I got of it. I got this at the Goodwill a while back in Chico, and it came in pretty good condition. The disc works perfectly fine, and I was able to watch Robin Hood in the car on my way to my hometown to do a couple errands. So, really enjoyed watching this. But now, to actually talk about Robin Hood. So, Disney's Robin Hood is pretty interesting. It's like the Aristocats in the sense of it falls into the same issues. Reusing voice cast, reusing animation. The animation looks even worse, it looks even cheaper. But I think if you can look past those, flaws of it, the fact that, yes, it is a cheaper production and there are pitfalls of that, it's a swinging good time. And, it's just Disney's Robin Hood. Some people might say, oh, it's not that great, there's way better Robin Hood films. Yeah, there are. But it's like saying there's way better Pinocchio movies or way better, dog movies. Okay, fine, but this is Disney's Robin Hood. This is Disney's take on Robin Hood. And I really like that the Disney animators weren't like, hey, we're going to do live-action people just as cartoons. They're like, no, let's make all the characters portrayed by their respective animals. So you have the, Robin Hood, the, sly fox, so he can easily steal money. You have his partner, Maid Marian, a vixen, which is obvious because, they fall in love. You have the sheriff, which is played perfectly by a wolf. You have the Bunny family, you have the actual King of Nottingham, which is Prince John, quote-unquote actual king, played by a lion with his, obvious brother, King Richard, played by an even bigger lion. You have Sir Hiss, and you have all these different characters. And I just really like how this film perfectly adapts all these characters to their animal counterparts. And the film creates a lot of kind of funny moments based on their animal counterparts. You get a lot of great physical comedy with Sir Hiss and, Clucky. I forget her name, Clucky. I think that's what it is, the chicken. There's a whole sequence where she basically plays football with all the soldiers of the corrupt kingdom, which is very fun. And I like that there's, this kind of heart bit in it where you have the little boy that has the Robin Hood bow and arrow and the hat. And I just really like the feeling of Disney's Robin Hood. This isn't a Robin Hood that's jaded at all. This isn't a Robin Hood that's, like, questioning what he's doing. There's not a lot of actual threat in this film. I mean, there is, but, you know, they never actually, like, attempt to show anything that violent when you compare it to, like, the Prince of Thieves film from 1991 or other adaptations that have made certain characters on the villain side definitely more aggressive. I'll put it that way. I just think Disney's Robin Hood, like, if I'm being honest, I think it's a really fun Disney film. I think if you come into Robin Hood expecting it to be, like, this masterpiece, you're not going to get that. But if you come into Robin Hood and you think about it like, what would Walt Disney do? That's pretty much this film. I think its biggest pitfalls are probably that it doesn't go far enough. This film definitely has its more depressing moments, but I think before I talk about that, I just want to talk about a lot of the things that I really like in this film. I've already talked about the animals, but what are the specific elements that I really like? Well, the songs are a big part of that. You have a couple of songs in this film, and there's really a few that stick out. You have the opening song, Robin Hood and Little John, Oodalolly Oodalolly. That's a great song. That's just a great, like, feel-good song, getting you into the spirit of Robin Hood. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of acoustic strings being used in that song. You also have the song for the romance between Robin Hood and Maid Marian. I think that's a very beautiful piece, and I appreciate that they didn't have the characters sing it, but they let it be a background track. I prefer that instead of having two characters sing about how much they love each other, because that kind of distracts from the actual romance if they're having to break out of their, like, emotional tenderness to put on a big musical number. So I really like that song. And then, of course, The Phony King of England is a great song. It's a lot of fun, and, you know, it's totally insulting to Prince John, but that's the whole point. I really just love how goofy and off the wall that song is. And yeah, you could say that, well, there's, you know, too little of a gap between that song and the romance song, so there's a tonal shift. But I like the tonal shift. I think it works. You have the two characters kind of having their moment together, and then they know, oh, the kids are going to get bored of this, so they go right back into giving the kids a good time. And I really like that. I really like that part about the film. I think it's a lot of fun. And then the song that's kind of a somber piece of the movie, Every Town. I don't remember the actual soundtrack name, but it's the one sung by the minstrel, where he's basically saying, like, every town has its ups and downs, and we're seeing all the characters in prison. It's a very sad song, and that is something that is going to be a big factor of the Bronze Age, or often termed the Dark Age of Disney animation. Disney Animation got this idea that they needed to go darker with all their animated features, not only in, you know, being lazy with animation and being cheap, but in terms of the story content. A lot of the films lose that sense of magic and instead go for a darker realism. And this really culminates when they make their darkest feature, The Black Cauldron, realize how badly that went, and then they try to course correct things. But it isn't really until 1989 with The Little Mermaid that they finally pull out of that dark slump. Now, I actually appreciate the darkness in a lot of these films. I think Robin Hood, there's a nice little bit of it to kind of show you, yeah, this isn't a simple town. This is going to get really dark, and yes, they're going to say that they're going to hang the friar of the church. Like, yeah, that's really messed up. But that's the point. This is good versus evil. This is showing you why Robin Hood needs to exist. And I like that this film isn't willing to shy away from these dark realities. The climactic battle also, I think, is, you know, more frightening. You wonder for a second if Robin Hood actually died, and he didn't, of course. They weren't going to kill a character off. But, you know, it is a little bit frightening. It's like, how is he going to get out of the situation? And, yeah, it's really fun. I just overall really like Robin Hood. Sorry for all my ums and likes and everything like that. I know that's not a great grammar practice, but I really do enjoy Robin Hood. I think Robin Hood is a great Disney animated feature. At the end of the day, it's a fun story. It's a story that's been told over generation, and I think this is a perfect version for Walt Disney Animation Studios. This is the Zootopia, if you will, of the 1970s, where they're trying to make a world of all these animals, and they do Robin Hood with it, which is a lot of fun. I don't really have any huge negatives for the film. Already mentioned the animation as one. But overall, I really like Disney's Robin Hood. I had a great time rewatching it. A lot of great action in this film, a lot of fun action. And I'm going to give the movie, I think, a 7 out of 10. Robin Hood may not be perfect, but I think it is really one of the last really great Disney features before we go into the darker years of the Disney Dark Age. But that is it for my very depressing movie review. I'm joking, of course. And we'll be back next time with another Disney animated feature, this time taking us to the 100-Acre Wood with 1977's The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Bye!